Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Priyanka. I think all of you guys have joined the first session, yesterday sync up session with the trainer. So me and Mohan has been explained what is content of the SDET interview preparation batch, what is the syllabus, and how do we explain the topic. So the structure, everything we have explained in very detail in the Saturday and then in the Sunday session as well. Okay. If you guys have missed that session, okay, so you can see in the WhatsApp group description, the drive link will be there. So in the drive link, if you go through, the recordings will be there. Okay, so basically, I just want to let you know the first three technical sessions will be completely free. So that you can analyze like what we are explaining and how Priyanka and Mohan are been explaining the particular topics and how much depth we are explaining the each topic. Okay, so this is just to give an overview about like how we explain this 3 days. I think enough to analyze us how we are explaining. After that, if you are interested, you can enroll to our course. Okay, and one more thing, today we are going to discuss about the Java variables and then constructors topics and methods as well. Okay, some people have pinged me and they asked me to explain about the strings and other collections topic. Okay, so it's not like a first three classes, it's not, I cannot directly jump into the mid of the topics. Okay guys, so I want to start from the start of this topics Java. So first we'll take with the Java. So I explain Java constructors, variables, methods, and then oops concepts, and then we go with the Java coding questions, and then we start with the API automation, and then Selenium and Java, Maven, Git, Jenkins. Okay, that is the flow how we follow. Okay, so yeah, this is what we follow, and you guys are not able to mute and talk because some people will go only through the recordings because of the abroad the timings are different. So I want the recording should be very clear and very neat. So that is the reason I have muted everyone. So after this things, like if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, then I will unmute you and then we can discuss on these things. Okay, let's follow this structure. Okay, okay guys, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm having a very bad cold. Yeah. So, welcome to SDET interview preparation batch. So, let's discuss today about the few some basics and some interview questions about the data types and the variables. Okay. Let's see what do you mean by data types in Java? What do you mean by data types in Java? Okay. So, what do you mean by data types in the Java? So, data types in the Java is nothing but like, let's say I am doing like int I equal to 10. Okay. So we need to inform to the compiler what type of data type you are using to store this reference variable. Okay, at what data type you are using to store this variable. So this is called as a data types in Java basically. Okay, so then you have like int I equal to 10 or like byte k equal to 9. So this is how we use to store the variables. Okay, so this is how. So how we follow the syntax is like this is a data type name. Okay, so this is a data type name and then variable name and then your value. Variable name and your value. Okay, so let's say in a layman way, our example, if you are storing a water, you store it in a water bottle, right? You can't store it in a box, right? So similar way here, int, you have to tell to the Java compiler, I am storing the int data type, and I'm taking the reference variable name, anything you can give, like I, K, J, L, anything you can give, and you can give this number. So this is called as a data type. This is called as a data type. So we are informing, we need to inform to the compiler what type of data type you are been storing in. Okay, so this is what the things. So normally in our Java code, we the simple and basic we work with this these kind of the things what with the numbers we work, and with the boolean we work, and with the character we work. Okay, so in the number again you have the byte, okay, short, okay, int, okay, and then long, okay, and then float. Okay, so these are the data types you have in your Java. And then the Boolean you have a true or false. You have true and false here. Okay, and then again in the character you have the char here. Okay, so total eight data types you have. Eight primitive data types. We call it as a primitive data types in Java. Primitive data types in Java. These are all eight primitive data types in Java, basically. Okay. So why I'm telling this one is like in some interviews they might ask you what are the primitive data types in Java. So how why you need to use the data type. Okay, why you need to use a data type is like you are telling to the Java compiler, see, I am using this is my data type and this is a variable name and this is a value. Okay, this is what. Now let's say if you use the string is a non-primitive data type, that is one more thing. And if you use string and if you use if you use one, so Java will get confused because Priyanka is using here string as a data type and why she is giving here integer, right? It's not the case. You can't keep the water in a cotton box or something, right, team? So in the string, if that is a case, then you have to keep like, text equal to training, something like this. Okay, so this is how the structure we follow in the Java. Okay, data type, variable name, and the value. You have the general in our like regular coding perspectives and everything, we use a primitive data types like byte, short, int, long, float. Okay, so you have a double. Okay, and then double, and then you have a boolean, and then character. Okay, these are all comes under the sorry, char. These are all comes under the your primitive data types. Okay, non-primitive data types also you have. What are the non-primitive data types is like string, arrays, classes, okay, collections, topics. These are all comes into the non-primitive data types. Let's discuss on the non-primitive data types in the enhanced class. Okay, so till now what you have to understand is like I have to understand that Java, we have to tell that if it is a data type, then data type and then variable equal to the value. This is how we have to follow. And we have eight primitive data types, eight primitive data types. Okay, one is int, second one is long, and third one is like, double, fourth is like, float, and then fifth is like boolean, and sixth is like, char, and seventh, what is the other one? Double, float, boolean, and then mm, short. Okay, short, and then eight. Okay, byte. Okay, so this is what you have the all the eight primitive kind of the data types you have here. Okay, and for the int, what is a default value? What do you mean by default value, Priyanka? Is like, let's say I have given int I. Okay, if I keep system.out.println of I, what it will give you? What it will give you? Because you did not give any value. What I told you here, data type, variable name, and then value. But here I did not give any value, right? So then the default value, when you don't assign any value to your data types for the int, then compiler will come and tell you that default value for integer is 0. I can give you the value as 0. Okay, and for the boolean, the default value is false. The boolean, the default value is false. Okay, so listen very carefully. Don't underestimate that these are very small topics, Priyanka. Why we are revising? Okay, I'll come to this. I'll come to this point. Okay, so this is about the data types, guys. This is all about the data types. I just want to throw some lights on this data types, basically. Okay, now coming to the, we all know. Now let's discuss with the most important topics called variables. Okay, what do you mean by variables in Java? What do you mean by variables? Just now I showed you, right? Data types, variable, and the value. Okay. So, like, you have like three types of variables in Java. Okay. One is local variables. One is like, instance variables. And one is like static variables. Okay, static variables you have in a Java. Static variables also you have in a Java. What do you mean by the local variables? Okay, what do you mean by the local variables is like, local variables is like a temporary temporary thing which you just use it and then you exit. That is called as a like local variables. I will tell you the local variables. Okay, so now this is the class name. Okay, public SDET interview preparation batch. This is a class name, and I have created the main method here. Okay, I have created the main method here. Okay, I have created the main method here. So what so what do you mean by the local variables? First, we'll discuss about the scope of the local variables. What is the scope of the local variables? Where you have to write the local variables means where exactly you have to use the local variables is like local variables is like you can use it only the inside the method. Okay, inside the method or like inside the block you can use the local variables, guys. Okay, so that's it. Second. Yeah, so that is a scope of the local variables. Okay, so inside the method and then inside the block is a local variables. That is a scope. Okay, so I'll tell you now. Priyanka told like inside the method, right? How do we create a method? You can create a method that void means the return type is void m1 method, and this is what. Okay, this is a method. What do you made my method is like whatever you write inside this method. Okay, if you call this method, whatever you have written inside that method, that will be executed. Method is nothing but a similar like a function. Okay, similarly like a function. Okay, so here this is a method. This method, what Priyanka told, local variables has to be created only inside the method. So I am creating local variables int k equal to 10. I told you, right? Data type, variable name, and then value. This is the local variable. So local variables should be created inside the method, and it can be accessible only inside the method. It can be accessible only inside the method. Okay, outside the method you cannot access. Outside the method you cannot access. Think like local variables is like a temporary notes. So for your class, I'm using one notepad. I'm writing the notes and I am sharing with you. After completion of the class, then I will remove this notepad. Means this notepad I'm making use as a temporary one. It's for the temporary one only for a specific task. What do you mean by specific task? When Priyanka is telling the class, she is using the notepad. After completion of the class, then that's fine. She are no more using that notepad. Got it? So for the temporary things only, you use the local variables. So inside the method, you have this local variable int k equal to 10, and then you are been calling only the inside the method. Okay, so this is the scope of the local variables here. Okay, so what will happen, Priyanka, if I call the local variables if I call here, what I'll be getting? Do I get compile time exception or not? Ping in the chat. Will be getting compile time exception or not? Yes, 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 very good. Yeah, we are getting the compile time exception because we are telling Java is strictly following some rules. We have to follow that rules. What Java is telling, please create the local variables only inside the method. Okay, and please call these local variables inside the method only. You create a local variables here and you have to utilize here only. You're not allowed to go out of this method and you're not allowed to call them. That is the scope of local variables. Okay. Now, scope we got it. What is a scope, Priyanka? Is like, okay, local variables I have to create it inside the method, and there itself I have to call the local variables. Fine. From the memory perspective, let's understand how these local variables are being there. What do you mean by the memory perspective is like memory will be allocated for the local variables, right? What do you mean by memory? See, Java also will have some memory whenever you create this local variables. When this local variables will have a memory means when you call this method. Okay, so memory allocation with the method starts. When the method starts, okay, the memory will be allocated. When the method end, the memory will be released. Okay, when the method starts, the memory will be allocated for this local variable. When the method ends, the memory will be released. How, Priyanka, is like, now I have to call this method. Okay, how do we call the method in Java? How do we call anything by Java? Java is a object-oriented programming language. So how do you do that? We have to create an object. How do we create an object? Class name. Okay, class name, new obj equal to new class name. This is a syntax for creating a object. By using object only, you have to call the method. Now, what is a class name? This is my class name. I'm taking this is my class name. So class name, new obj equal to new class name. Okay, so this is what I'm calling here. So with this is an object now. So now new obj, okay, new obj dot m1 method. Okay, new obj dot m1 method I am calling here. Okay, m1 method I am calling here. So when I am calling this method, we all know in Java, whenever I run the code, it will be running after the main method. Whatever you have written inside the main method, that particular code only will be executed. Okay, so that particular code will be executed. What about these code, Priyanka? Is like this code, it will be reading, but the execution will start from the main method. Okay, so now what is there? First Java will come here. Okay, and it will go to the main method. After the main method, here Priyanka has created some object. Okay, fine. So now it is calling new obj.m1. It will go to the m1 method, and then inside that local variables has been created. So now the memory will be allocated to the local variable, and it will print k, means it will print 10 in the console. Done. Now the method execution has been stopped. So now the memory will be released for the local variables. Got it? When the method execution start, memory will be allocated to the local variables. When the method ends, then the memory will be released from the local variables. Got it, team? Got it? So this is all about the local variables. So why we are talking about memory, scope in very detailed is like whenever you get a chance to create a framework from scratch, okay, you need to know that, okay, for temporary use I'm creating, then you have to create a local variables, guys. Because Java should have, like, from memory point of view also, you have to have a knowledge. Then only you can explain to the panel in a very clear way. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to explain. So this is what about the local variables. Now let's discuss about the 3 points. What are the 3 points? Scope. Scope is like inside the method you can create, inside the block you can create. Okay. And what is a memory point of view? From the memory point of view, what is from the memory point of view? From the memory point of view, mm, when the method call, when the method call, okay, the memory, yeah, the memory will be allocated to variables. Okay, when the method ends, when the method ends, the memory will be released. The memory will be released. Okay, so this is the scope of this, scope and the memory of these one, the local variables. Got it? So this is what about the local variables. Let's say in Selenium framework, where do you use the local variables? In Selenium framework, where do you use the local variables? In the Selenium framework, okay, I know everyone know this is a method. Okay, public void login test is a, sorry, this is a class I have created. So what I'm using some expected title, my expected title. See, string is a data type. This is a variable name. This is the value. So this is what. So I am creating inside the method. Sorry, this is a method. Void is a return type. This is a method. So inside the method, I'm creating one variable. Okay, so welcome. And then what I'm doing, driver dot find element by dot username dot send keys Priya, password 123, click. Okay, and asset equals driver dot get title dot expected title. My expected title is here, welcome. So my get title and my expected title should be equal. That is what we are doing it here in our framework. Okay, so I am using creating this local variable inside the method. Priyanka already told that local variables should be created inside the method. Yes, you have created inside the method, and I already told that local variables for the temporary usage means only within the method you should use it. Outside the method it is not allowed, and obviously you will be getting compile time error. So inside the method for temporary usage you are using this variable. This is called as a local variable. Got it? So now you have to connect the three dots. What do you mean by three dots? Means first definition. What do you mean by local variables? When the panel asks, local variables are the variables which have to be created inside the method or inside the block. Outside the method, it is not allowed. You would be getting compile time exception. Okay, and second thing is like when the method starts, the memory will be allocated to that. When the method ends, the memory will be released to do that. Okay, so why we create the local variables inside the method is for the temporary usage. Okay, like in a framework, in our framework, we create like expected title, like like password or something. We give it only inside the method for the temporary usage. You give it that. That is called as a local variables. If you explain in this form to the panel, they really get impressed because you're telling the definition, you're giving the example, and you're also relating where exactly you give it in your framework. Okay, they'll come to know that you have very genuine real-time experience. Okay, clear with the local variables? Let's go with the instance variables. Hmm? Any questions in the chat? Yeah, good to go. Okay, thank you. Okay, now fine. We got the definition, we got the scope, we got the memory, everything we got it, Priyanka. Now let's go to the instance variables. Okay, next go to the instance variables. So, okay, instance variable. Same like this, scope. What do you mean by scope, Priyanka? Scope means inside the method, inside the block for the local variables. What about the instance variables? Any idea in the chat? What is the scope of instance variables? It is inside the method or inside the class or like how? What is the scope of instance variable? Very good. Very good. Very good. Yes. Yes. All are correct. So it is like a inside the class. It is like a inside the class. The scope is like inside the class. Okay. So now let's go and create. Inside the class means this is one. Inside the class and the outside the method is called as an instance variable. So now I create int a equal to 10. Okay. So this is as a instance variable. Okay. Okay, Priyanka, scope you have explained inside the class, outside the method. What about the memory for the instance variable? Okay. So the instance variable memory will be allocated when you create a object. Okay. When you create an object, the memory will be allocated. So here instance variables, you have to call this instance variable by creating a object. You have to call the instance variable by creating an object. Okay, I have already created an object. Now I am taking the new obj dot a. Did you see here? New obj dot a. So how do you call that? System dot out dot println of new obj dot a. New obj dot a. Okay. This is how I'm calling my instance variable. Okay. So how do I remember, Priyanka? Like instance variable, I have to call by object name. On local variables, I have to call by method name. These are the rules, guys. If you join any school or any college, the HOD or the principal will apply some rules. Okay. So we have to follow the rules. Same Java also is telling that, okay, instance variables you have to create inside the class. Okay. And you have to call that instance variables by using the object. Okay, so only by creating an object you can create the instance variable. Why only by creating an object, Priyanka? Is like when you create an object only, the life will get for this instance variables, means the memory will be allocated to the instance variables. Okay, then the memory will be allocated to the instance variables here. Okay, so now, okay, Priyanka, so when we create an object, the memory will be allocated to the instance variable. Then when it will be destroyed? When the memory will be destroyed for the instance variable? Comment in the chat. When the memory will be destroyed for the instance variables? Anyone? Anyone? When the memory will be destroyed for the instance variables? After completion of program execution? No. Outside the, no, it's not correct. Okay. Now let's see. So I told, right, instance variable should be accessible by using the object creation. I have created an object. By using the object, you are calling the instance variable. That is perfectly fine. So when the memory will be destroyed for this variables is like objects are connected to the when you create an object, the memory will be allocated to the instance variable. So when the object is been destroyed, okay, so when the object is been destroyed, then the memory will be released from the instance variables. You got my point? Okay, so how come the memory will be released for the instance variables is like, let's say you are playing in your home, okay, in your home, okay, so in your living room, you are playing with a toy, and suddenly you stop playing and like you stop playing with a toy and you put it in a corner. After some time, your maid has come and she thought like you're no more using that toy, okay, and she throwed it into the dustbin. Okay, in the similar way, if I create any variable here, instance variable, if I am not using that, if I am not using that variables anywhere, if I'm not using that sorry, if I create an object here for the class, if I'm no more using any object here, okay, I have just created an object, but I'm not using this object, I'm not using this object anywhere in my framework. Okay, I'm not using my object anywhere in the framework. Then what it will be coming here, the garbage collector will come into the picture, and then it will check like is there any objects which has been created but they are not using anywhere. Okay, then it will remove or destroy these objects. When they destroy this object, then memory also will be destroyed for this instance variables, right? No object, you can't call the instance variable. You got that connection now? Okay, let me explain again. Instance variables you are calling by the object creation. That is clear. First point, right? So I already told that when the memory will be allocated, when the object is been created, then the memory will be allocated to the instance variable. Now here the object is been created. Okay, now memory will be get allocated to the instance variable. By using the object, you are calling this instance variable. Perfect. Okay, done. So now when the memory will be destroyed for this, when you create an object and you are not using that object so more in your frameworks, that time garbage collector will come into the picture and remove these objects, and at that time then there will be no memory will be allocated for this instance variables also. Got it, team? Got it? Okay, that is the point you have to tell to the panel there. Got it? Okay, so this is the scope about the instance variables. Okay, so now what is I told inside the class, and then memory will be allocated, will be when the object is created, memory will be allocated. Okay, when the object is been destroyed, when the object is destroyed, then 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 memory will be released, for the instance variables. Okay, instance variables. Okay, so this is what. And and remember, whole Java you have to understand one thing: instance means object. Okay, instance means object. You have to remember these. Instance means object. If you are creating instance variables, you have to access them by creating the object. Okay, that is what. Okay. Mm, okay. So this is all about the instance variable. Now let's talk about the static variables. Okay. Now let's talk about the static variables. What do you mean by static variables, Priyanka? Is like, static variables are like, basically how do I explain? It is same like an instance variable. The scope is inside the class, but you have to add the static keyword here. Okay, you have to add the static keyword here. This is called as a static variable. Sorry, I have to tell int, right? Okay. So static variable. This is a static variable. The scope is inside the class only. Same like instance, but only difference is the keyword. Okay. So The static variables memory, when it will be allocated, is like when the class is loaded. Okay, when the class is loaded, the memory will be allocated to the static variable. When the class will be loaded, now if I run the main method, sorry, when I run this particular class, so what it will be happening? First, the class will be loaded. When the class is loaded, it will check, compiler will check that is there any static variables? Yes, it is there. So then the memory will be allocated to the static variables. Okay. And then it will come to the main method. In the main method, what it is doing here, I'm creating an object. Okay, fine. And by creating an object, I'm calling the M1 method. It will go to the M1 method. When the method start, memory will be allocated to the local variables, and local variable will be printed here. Okay, and by calling the object name, I am calling the instance variable. So I have created an object, so obviously memory will be allocated to the instance variable, and I'm calling the instance variable here. You got my point? Mm. Now how do we call the static variables, Priyanka? Like you said that memory will be allocated when the class is loaded, so class will be loaded only once, right? Class will be loaded only once, right? Method also will be loaded only once, right, Priyanka? Method will be loaded only once? No. If I call multiple times, the same method, so multiple times the method will be executed, right? It depends. But the class will be loaded only once. The class will be loaded only once. So how do I call my static variables? How do we call the static variables, guys, in the chat? Very good. Very good, Shubham. By using the class name. By using the class name, you call the static variable. So what is a class name here? This is my class name. Okay, so class name dot, what is a variable we have created? C. So then this is what you would be getting your static variable. Okay, so this is all. Now let's execute and see. So it will come to the main method first. So in the main method, I have calling the first local variable. I'm calling the method. So first local variable will be executed, and then the instance variable, and then static. That is how it will be taken care here. Okay. So it is building the execution. Hmm. Oh, for all I have given 10, 10, 10 now. Okay. 1 and 100 and then 10. Okay. As I told you, first the class will be loaded. When the class is loaded, memory will be allocated to the static variable. It is coming to the main method. Object is created. When the object is been created, memory will be allocated to the instance variable. And by using object, I'm calling the method M1 method. So by using this M1 method, local variables has been, memory will be allocated to the local variable, and K will be printed. Okay, and then again, so it is printed 1 here. Okay, first one has been printed, and then next new obj.a. By taking object, I am calling the instance variable. Instance variable value is 100. It is printed 100, and next I am calling by using the class name c. C is a static variable. For c, the value is 10, so then it is printed 10. So this is how the things. Okay. Okay, so this is how the things would be there. Okay, so static variable scope will be, static variable scope will be inside the class, and the memory, when the class is loaded, the when the class is loaded, the memory will be allocated. The memory will be allocated. Okay, so that is all about the static variable. Got it, team? Yeah. So, so this is all about the static variables things. Okay, so let's see in the framework how we have declared the static variables also. Okay, in the static variables, generally static means like we declare the static variables. uh, how do I tell, like static is like common to all the objects, common to all the objects basically. Okay, whichever I feel like it should be common to all the objects, and for all the methods, then that one I create as a static. Let's say base url will be common to all your frameworks, right? Let's say if you are working for Amazon company, the url will be amazon.com only, right, for all your framework. So and then your explicit wait seconds, and then screenshot path, so everything you can create with the static, because this would be common to all the objects. Got it, team? So that is the reason in these cases we can go with the static variables. Okay, clear? So this is how we do the static variables. Okay, static variables is like a shared memory to all the objects. Static memory is like shared memory to all the objects. Got it? Hmm? So now if I now this is what it has been there. This is a static variable. Now if I want to call this string base URL, how do I call? This is a static variable. Static variable I have to call by using the class name dot base URI dot base URI. So static name dot base URI. So then you will get this https dot amazon.in. Got it, team? So this is how we call the base URI. Base URL here. Okay, so which are constants, so that we go it for the static variables. Got it? Okay, coming to the instance variable, where exactly you use the instance variable in your framework. First of all, instance variable, what is a rule inside the class? Inside the class, let's say here you follow the page object model. What do you mean by page object model? Let's say you have a login page. For the login page, what are the web elements you have? Username, password, login button. All these are the web elements, right? So these are all the web elements you have to design by using the page object model. So I am creating driver and then page object model. These are all our instance variables. These are all instance variable, because these would be using only this inside this class, and and every objects have that own copy here. Okay, every object have their own copy here. Okay, what do you mean by own copy, Priyanka? Is like, see, now this login page is a class. So if I want to access this, if I want to access the this method or like anything, I have to create a object variable or anything, right? So login page new obj equal to new login page. Okay, if I do here, then new obj dot um, um, new obj dot, if I call this um, login method, if I call this login method here, so here username password, I can give Priya. Okay, Priya 123, I can give it here. Okay, password Priya 123, I can give it here. Okay, so then if I create one more object, every object has its own copy, right? If I create one more object, new obj dot one, and here if I again take new obj one dot login, if I take it again, here I can give another password, and here I can give it another password. So every object have its own copy. So that is the reason we take it as a instance variables here. Got it? Okay. So now I hope you are clear about the local variables, instance variables, static variables, and what is the scope, what is how the memory is been allocated, and what is the usage of that in the framework, and why we need to use these kind of, where exactly we have to use these variables in the framework also. Okay? Yeah. So any questions? Any questions here? Team, any questions? No? Okay. Okay. Now I want to ask one interview question. Okay. So I want you guys to Keep in the chat the answer. Okay. So I'm removing everything. Okay. Okay. Before that, I want to let you know one thing. Okay. So this is the static variable. Okay. So this is a static variable. If the static variable will be common to all the objects. Okay. Common to all the objects. Let's say this is a TV. Okay, this is a TV. This is the static variable. Okay, so this is a static variable. Static variable is a TV. And here you and your friend, you have been watching this TV. These are all objects. This is object and this is also object. Okay, so if a person change the TV channel from news to game, news to some entertainment channel, so this object also will be seeing the same entertainment channel only, right? Yes or no? Okay. Similarly, one more example. If you have in your college, like, one board will be there, common board, where you keep all your updates, like, upcoming events or anything. One person will come and they'll paste one uh, doc there. They have a annual day function on the December 13th. Okay. One person will be keeping that update. So all the students will be sharing that update, right? That is a common update to all the students. Okay. One more example in your class. In your class, you will be having that green color board or white color board, blackboard, right? That will be common to all the students in the class. Students are here objects, and then the board is like, static variable, which will be common to all the objects. Got it, team? Okay, I'll tell you one example. I'll ask you one interview question. So that's the reason I'm telling here. Okay. So now I have created a class. Now I'm creating one instance variable, int count equal to 0. Okay. I have given this is this is one of the question asked in the Infosys company. So this is a static variable. I have created a static variable and I'm creating a normal method. Okay. Void add. Okay, I'm creating some normal method. In this method, I am incrementing this count plus plus. What is this count plus plus means? If it is 0, it will become, after count plus plus, it will become 1. Okay, so if we are increasing this count by the just doing like count plus plus here. Okay, so here main method. So I am creating an object new obj. Okay, new obj equal to new. Okay, I am creating a object here. Okay, again I'm creating one more object here. Okay, so this is the object here. Okay, so this is the object here. So I'm calling this object. I have to call this method. So how do I call this method? By creating a object. I'm calling this method add. Okay, and I'm taking one more object dot add. Okay, so now it has been there. Now I'm calling system dot out dot println of this okay, class name. I'm calling my instance static variable. How do I call? By using the class name. Okay, by using the class name dot dot your static variable. Got it, team? Okay, now done. So let me explain the question. The I have declared the static variable with with the value 0, and I have created the method, and I am asking to increase the count value. Okay, increase the count value here, and I am creating a object here. Okay, I'm creating one more object here, and by using this object I'm calling this add method, and by using the another object also I'm calling the add method. At end of the that system.println, I want to call this static variable. How do I call? By using the class name. So class name dot count I'm using. Now, what will be the output in the console? What will be the output in the console? Okay, 2, 1, 1, 0, 2. Okay, 2. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, 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 okay. Good. Okay, fine. So now let's execute. Before executing, let us understand the program in a very clear way. Static int count equal to 0. Okay, let's say Priyanka told that it is a class board. I have created the class board, and that as of now the count is 0. Okay, so this is a class board. Count is 0. Fine. So and when the class is loaded, memory will be allocated to the static variable. That is fine. Okay, and then it will come to the main method. Here the object is been created. So no instance variable. So memory will not be allocated to instance variables here. And one more object also created here. And here I'm calling the add method. So it will go to the add method. Inside the add method, what is there? Count plus plus. So what is the count value here? 0. Right? What is the count value here? 0. So it will remove the 0 and then it will become the 1. It will become 1. Okay. Here new obj is there. Okay. Here new obj is there. This new obj is seeing now it as a 1. Okay. New obj2 is there. It is also seeing the value as 1 only here right now. Okay. So now till here it is 1. So now, and again I'm calling new obj1 dot add. Again it is going. What was the count value here? Current count value 1. On top of 1, again it will increment to 2. So now it will become 2. Okay. So now if I call this static variable by using the class name, so the counter, so then what will be the output here? What will be the output here? 2. Okay. Let's see. You got it? Let me clear. So did you see? The count value is like 2. You got? Everyone got this one? You want me to explain one more time? Okay. Yes, Naresh, what is your question?
Actually, here while printing, why we are giving it's like class name dot count. We
Hmm.
already have a object, right? Like a new object dot count we can print, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Static variables. How do you call the static variables?
With a it's a class name dot
That is
that
what we are doing. You are telling that why do you call the by using class name? By using object also you can call, right,
flow.
Priyanka? Yes,
Right.
by using object also you can call the static variables, but that is not the good approach we should follow. Okay.
Right.
Static variables has to be called by using the class name only, not by using the object. Object has to be called by only the instance variables and instance methods.
Methods. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope these are the clear, right, team? This question. Okay. So now same question. Okay. Same question. Now what is output? Tell me. Okay. Good. 3. The output is 3. I know everyone has understood very good correctly. So first the output is 0. The board it is updated to 0. And then when we call the add method, it has been incremented to 1. So from 0 to 1, it will update. And then again it is asking, calling the add method. From 1 to 2, it will update. And then again it is calling the add method. When the new obj2, it is calling the add method. On top of 2, it will increment to 1. I mean 3. It will be 3. Okay. So that is how it will be there here. So static variables are common to all the objects. So that is the reason here in our framework, here also we have declared the static variables here also. Like, see base URL, explicit weight, screenshot path, everything. Because if you create how many objects also for this framework constants, like how many objects you create also the base sorry, why I'm creating an object for these ones. So when you call the class name and yeah, Correct only, right? How many objects you create also for these one? So you like let's say system dot out. Let's say you are using that framework constants dot this base URI. So how many objects you create? How many things you do? Also, this would be common to all the objects and it will be common to all the methods. Got it, team? Got it? So that is how the static is common to all the objects and methods. Okay. So now one simple twisted question I'll ask. Okay. So Priyanka, I am, this is static. This is now instance variable. Okay. I am getting this error. Why? Because I'm calling by using the class name, right? So previously it was static. Now I changed instance variable. So now on what basis I have to call my instance variable? On object basis. So I'll remove my class name and on object basis, I'll call my instance variable. Now, what will be the count? Tell me. I told you already, instance variable, every object have its own copy. Every object has its own copy. Okay, every object has its own copy. What do you mean by think that Priyanka is like? Um, every person has their own notebook. Okay, every person have their own notebook. Okay, if in your notebook you write as a, in other person notebook it will not commit as a. Got it? You got my point, right? So it will not be the common to all the objects. Every object has its own copy. I repeat again, every object has its own copy. Okay, so now, now tell me what is the output? Okay. Okay, very good. So, yes, the answer is one. Yes, you have understood the concept very clearly, guys. Yes, the answer is one, obviously. Okay, see, the answer is one. Because what happened, I have created an object, it is calling the add method. What is add? For the new OBJ, when you call the add method, the value is one. That one, it is not a static. That one is the value only for this object. Okay. And again, new obj1 dot add. Again, on top of 0, it will increase to 1. Got it? So every object has its own copy here. That is the instance variables. Got it, team? Yeah. Yes, Sangita?
Yeah, Priyanka, can you please explain the in the framework this concept you explained, but I couldn't get properly. So can you please explain once?
You mean the instance variables?
The last one, yeah, this one framework.
Yeah, instance variable. So here
No,
the
no, not this one. Sorry, the last one. I mean,
code.
scroll down, scroll down.
Hmm.
Yeah, scroll down the
Hmm.
page. The framework code you had, na?
Yeah, this one only, instance variable framework code.
So you copied, na, like URL and all. The
That is
common.
that is static.
Okay, yeah, that one only. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, in static, what you have the question?
So, I mean, the code I understood in Java. Here you explain like how it is being utilize that concept. So that I didn't understood.
Okay. So what I mean is like static is common to all the objects and static is common to all the methods also. Static is common to all the methods. Let's say I have created like void m1 method. Okay. If I want to call like system dot out dot print ln of this, this framework constant um, dot framework constant dot base URL. If I call this one, if you call inside the method or if you create n number of objects and then by inside yeah, n number of objects and after that if you are calling this framework constant also, it will be common to all the objects and it will be common to all the methods here. Okay, that is what
Okay.
I'm trying to tell here. So until unless you change here from Amazon to Flipkart or something, then here also it will be getting changed obviously. Okay, so it
Okay.
is like, you're updating in the notice board. These are the variables. So that same updation will be happening to all the methods and then all the objects. That's what.
Okay. Okay, means this value will be remain the single, I mean the common
Yes.
one, no
Yes.
matter how many times we have
Yes,
called. Yeah,
called. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Because in
That
our framework, we have some default things. What are the default things? Base URL, our username, password of our password, and our environment, test environment URL, dev environment URL, and our screenshot path. So anywhere in your framework, if you go and see, anywhere you want to make it as a constant, then that would be a static. Because we want that to be fixed, that value only.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So then what was this question? When the static variable memory get erased. Okay. So yeah, that's a good question. So uh, static variable will be memory will be allocated when the class has been loaded, right? So when the class is loaded into JVM, so then the memory will be allocated. When it is erased is like when the class is unloaded. Okay, when the class is unloaded or like the JVM shut down. Okay, so at that time the memory will be allocated for the static variables. Okay, so what do you mean by JVM shutdown is like if you give just like a system.exit. So that's a sudden shutdown of your JVM. Then your class will be unloaded. Okay, at that time, your memory will be erased from the static variables. Got it? I can typically tell that when the program ends. Okay, when the program ends, means you have run this program and then the program ends now. Okay, I have run the program. I got the output. Now the program ends. Then the memory will be released for this static variables. That's it. Okay, yeah, that is the case here. And now, last interview question I'll ask you here. So now, int count. Okay, so this is the int count. It has been there, and now it is there here. And now, okay. So now, what is the output we'll be getting here? What is the output we'll be getting here? 0. Yes, correct. We got the output as a 0 because the default value of int is a 0. So you would be getting the output as a 0 here. Okay. Same for the static also, you get the same thing. Same for static also, you get the same thing, guys. If you don't give any value, for the static also, you get the same value. Yes or no? Yes. For static also, you will be getting the default value. You are not giving anything. For the static also, you get the same thing. What about for the local variables? So here the void m1 inside the method, I am creating the local variables. Int k equal to 10. Sorry, int k. Okay, so this has been there. If I call system dot out dot print ln of k, so now what? So we get compile time exception or else the default value will be printed for the local variables. Error. Okay, initialization will be required for the local variables. Okay, initialization will be required for the local variables. Okay, so this is also one of the important interview question. Okay, next thing, what you should remember through overall the our Java learning sessions is like two things. Okay, what is two things, Priyanka, is like, okay, instance means object. Whether you create instance variable, you have to access by using object creation. If you create instance method, you have to access by using the object. Okay. Static means class. Okay, because when you create a static variables, memory will be allocated when the class is loaded. You have to call that static variables by using the class name. You have to call the static methods by using the class name. Got it? Yeah. So, yes, Pratik. Yes, Pratik.
Hello.
Yeah, Pratik.
Yes, I'm asking for like when you are going to take the framework part, so
Mm.
that time you using demo websites or you're taking as a real time example.
Um, Real time means we go with the IKEA application. These kind of the applications we go with that. Not
Yes,
like
but
any
actually,
dummy applications or anything.
yes, okay.
Mm.
So I'm asking like yes, there are multiple sites out there in on internet. There are to automate, so that's why I'm like asking for you're taking a real time example within framework or
If
just
you
taking the
guys tell
demos.
me any application, that is also fine. We'll go with that particular application. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm trying to tell you, what is go to tell you? I forgot. What is it to tell you? Yeah, static means class and instance means object. Okay. So let's have like last question. So this is a void M1. Okay. So void M1, this is the instance method. Okay. This is the instance method. And here I'm writing here system dot out dot print ln of instance. Okay. Instance method. Okay. Instance method. This is fine. Now I'm creating one static method. A static void M2. Okay. So this is also system dot out dot println of some dot in println of the static method. Okay. Println of static method. Now I am calling by using object name. I'm calling my M1 method. By using the class name, I have to call my static method. Okay. These things are clear. How do we call the static methods? Instance method. These things are clear? Yeah. Good. 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 Okay. Okay. Now, last interview question I'll ask and we'll end up the session. Can we have instance variables in the static method? Can we have instance variables in the static methods? This is my instance variable. Can I access this instance variable in the static method? Can I access? Hmm? Yes or no? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay, let's come to the rules. What we have learned. Priyanka told that instance variable should be accessed only by creating the object. Only by creating an object, you have to access the instance variable. So now Priyanka is asking that in the static method, can you access the instance variable? How do I access? If I want to access the instance variable, I need to create an object. I will be creating an object only inside the main method. Then how do I access here inside the method, static method? Is that possible? These kind of tricky questions you will be getting, guys. Nowadays, no one will ask what is local variables, what is instance variables. No, these kind of tricky questions only you will be asking. So then how do you call? So let's call system.out.print system.out.print ln of k. So what you're getting here? Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field. No, you can't do that. So then can we call, means once you create an object, in the creation of object only, you can call the static, you can call the instance variables. Got it, team? Okay. So by creation of the object, by using that object only, you can call the instance variables. Got it? So you can create an object here and then you can call this instance variable here also. But this is not a good practice. right? We create an object inside the main method only. Got this answer? Clear? Hmm? No, not clear. Huh? Clear? Okay, fine. Hmm. Okay, so what I exactly I'm trying to tell is like instance variable can be accessible only in the process of object creation. So object creation will be by creating an object, then only you can access. Without the object creation, you cannot access. Okay, same question. Try twist. Static variable can be accessible inside the static variable can be accessible inside the instance method. Hmm? Can be accessible inside the instance method. Let's see. So how the static variable memory will be allocated? Static variable memory will be allocated when the class has been loaded. When the class has been loaded. So class will be, when I run this program, first the class will be loaded. So memory will be allocated to the K10. So I can call in the instance method. I can call in the instance method. So now what I'll do, new obj dot m2. New obj dot m2. You got it? Okay, so this is how we have to learn of the things, guys. Okay, so today we have learned in detail about the local variables, what is a scope, what is a memory, and instance variable, what is a scope and memory, and then static variables, what is a scope and memory, where do we use these variables in the framework, and in which cases we have to use these variables. Okay, and also we have used quite examples to understand the difference between instance variable and the static variables. Okay, so now what I hope you have understood the concept very clear. So now what in the same drive you would be getting the coding exam links for the variable. Okay, you try to complete your coding exams by tomorrow. By tomorrow 12, by tomorrow, before attending the class, you try to complete the coding exam. So when you complete your coding exam for the variables, you feel like very confident. Whatever you have learned, you know the concepts, and then you have applied in your exam. Okay, so next day again, tomorrow we start with the constructors. Okay, we also discuss multiple interview questions and multiple concepts about the constructors. Okay, and then again the coding exams on the constructor. Okay, after completing like this 5 days, sixth day you will be having a mock interviews on the topics. Okay, I'll ask you to share your screen and create this kind of the I'll give some code and ask you to give the output of the code. Okay, something like this. This is what we are doing. Practice, 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 where you get your concepts very clear. Got it, team? So this is the agenda which we follow. I think first class you will get some clarity. Attend the next two classes also. You will get more clarity about what we have been teaching. I know first day it is very tough to me, taking this very simple kind of topics and explaining. Most of the people feel like we already know these concepts, Priyanka. I can understand, guys, but I cannot directly step into the mid of the concepts like collections or exception class or array coding questions, right? So I want these classes to be like, step by step I have to go, right? Because in the framework creation also, when I declare any variable, then you should not come to me and ask like, why we are declaring this variable as local, why not, why can't static, why we are declaring this as a static, okay, why we are declaring this as an instance. You should have that basic things, basic knowledge should be very clear. Okay, so even if the panel gets asked these kind of questions, can you call static in non-static, static in non-static in static, then you should not get confused. When you are very clear with the memory point of view, when you're very clear with the scope point of view, then I hope you'll answer in a very detailed way. Got it, team? Yeah. Now it's a high time. Let's raise your hands. We can discuss on your questions. Okay. Other who are very clear with this process and everything, you can leave, guys. Okay. Thank you. Uh, Pratik, your question is resolved.
Hi, yes. But actually, there's one thing as well.
Huh.
Like as there are various projects right in our organization.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like you are going to explain framework, right?
Yeah. Mm.
So you are taking you are said that you are taking multiple websites and
Not
to explain.
not multiple website. Okay. One website we will take, and then based on that we'll create a framework and we'll explain you. That's it. This is like interview preparation batch, right? So we cannot create a framework for multiple things or anything. Okay, if we create for one website, then you will get a clarity. You will understand also. Okay.
Okay, okay, sure.
Mm.
Hey, hi Priyanka. Good
Yeah,
evening.
hi. Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is that will you be covering the Tosca part as well?
No, no, Anumita. So we'll be covering the Selenium UI part and then Java and then API automation, frameworks
Hmm.
Cucumber and TestNG and Maven, Git, Jenkins. Okay, slowly
Oh,
in the December we are starting the playwright also.
okay. Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Priyanka, I have a question. You told right, and the static method can we call instance variable?
Mm.
So by adding the object, we can call it, but it's not a correct way to use it. That's what we're
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah, Priyanka, I have a question.
Mm.
Uh, that as you said, like for static variables, static variables, when program ends, then it memory deallocation happen, right?
Mm. Mm.
So for instance, the object also get destroyed after program ends.
Sorry, what was your question? Your question is, um,
Just similar to as static variables. For instance variable, when object get destroyed, then only instance variable deallocation of memory happens, right? So object also get destroyed when program ends. My question is that
object get destroyed when the
when
program.
program ends.
Okay, when the program ends. Okay. So objects are related to, sorry, instance variables are related to objects or with the
So
class.
instance are related to object.
So instance are destroyed when the object is destroyed.
Yeah. So why that's what my question is like, is object also get destroyed when program ends?
Yes, yes. When the program ends and or also when the JVM collector removes the object in both the cases. Yes, you are correct.
Okay, like the screen right now is shown, this new obj.m2. So new obj is being used, but after program ending, the object will be destroyed. Garbage collected. Is it happen?
Yes. See, when the
Okay.
program ends is what? At the end of the execution. Okay.
Yeah,
JVM will
yeah.
stop. All objects, their instance variables, all are deleted from the memory.
Oh,
And
okay.
also, the object is no longer reachable when the JVM garbage collector destroys it, and instance variable memory is also destroyed. Okay, so instance
Okay.
variables get memory when an object is created, and the memory is removed when the object is destroyed, whether the program end or like whether the garbage collector remove the objects. Got it?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
One more question I have, Priyanka.
Uh-huh.
Like as you said, for framework development, you are going to take any web application available. So, is there any banking related application which is available for like open source kind of dummy or something? Can we take that?
See, that's what I'm telling. I know most of people have this query because some people will not have the real-time experience in your companies, which company you're working. So whatever framework
Okay.
I create, you can't relate it to your project and it would you can't explain. That is what your question. But what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
tell is like framework skeleton is same for all the projects. Okay, let's say I create a page
Mhm.
object model, one page class for the login. So you create the same for your banking application also, right? Same login. Okay, so the
Yeah,
same thing.
actually, Selenium I have idea, and banking I have done manual testing and all API testing.
Mm,
But the problem is because payload I have used. I mean, if you have idea about the banking and all,
yeah.
so payload I'm not able to connect how payload is being provided and how that key generated,
In
how
the
we are
API
passing to
testing,
the
you are
framework.
tasking. In the API testing.
No, 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 no. It's this automation testing.
Okay, 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 fine. From
Because payload we are passing in a manual testing. Manually we are doing. Even in automation also, the regression team was doing, but we were not part of a regression team. So that's what I'm a little bit. I mean, if off the class, if you or Mohan can help me out to understand how it is being like structured
yeah,
or in a
yeah, sure.
framework,
Yeah,
so
sure,
that will be
Sangeeta.
helpful.
Yeah, sure. We can do it that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Hi
you.
Priyanka,
Yeah, hi.
do you know Telugu?
Yeah, hi, Jaya. Yeah.
Jaya. Okay, actually I am completed course full stack automation recently.
Mm-hmm.
In institute, only basic level I learn.
Okay, okay, Jaya. We'll come to your personal question. Regarding technical, any questions, guys? I'll stop the recording. Regarding technical, any questions you guys
Yeah,
ask?
yeah,
Are
I
yeah,
have one
yes,
question actually.
yeah.
This is regarding garbage collector.
Mm.
So, as if any object is unused, then garbage collector collects that object. If any method is unused, is garbage collector comes to picture or not?
When the method is
Unused.
okay. So, okay, when the method is unused,
Mm-hmm.
so you need to call that method by using what?
By object.
By using object, right? When the method ends, the so so you mean to say that when you create a method, you're no longer using that method, so then the garbage collector will be there or not, right?
Yeah. Yes.
No, I don't think so because garbage collection will be eligible only for the objects, not for the methods.
Okay.
Mm, yeah.
Okay. Can we connect offline for some personal questions?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, you can ping me in WhatsApp, Samar. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll stop the recording. Thank you, guys.